Paul, what's the environment got to do with health and safety practitioners in the first place? Why should they be involved?
Well, I think if you look at the IOSH specialist group, around 3,000 members are already in that group. So clearly a lot of IOSH members have identified the environment as a key business issue for them. I think the other thing is that environmental management gives safety practitioners a major skill, which is very beneficial for them with employers. It can help them to find new jobs, but more importantly, some of these jobs are much higher level than solely safety jobs. In fact, you'll find that in many hundreds of companies in the UK, senior HS&E roles have been occupied because the value of the environmental and the health and safety expertise put together. So I think it's extremely relevant now to safety professionals.
And what do you mean by the environment?
I think many people have a view that the environment is a sort of a passive thing, like the countryside or towns or rivers and everything. But of course there is much, much more to that. The environment today is about dealing with resources and energy. We're getting short of resources. Resources are becoming more expensive even when you can get hold of them. The same is absolutely true of energy. And so what environmental managers do, they need to be able to deal with resource issues, waste minimisation issues, and the whole supply chain. But the key thing that differentiates environmental management from safety management is the need to engage successfully with stakeholders. Now, those stakeholders can be enforcers or the public or supply chain people, but that's a really important factor within environmental management.
And where does this fit into the corporate social responsibility agenda?
Well, I think with the massive stakeholder impact of environmental management, you have to ask the other question, does it fit in more than safety? And I think the answer is very often yes. I think environmental management is about good stakeholder relations. It's about a lot more than that, but it's certainly about that. And CSR is about having an effective engagement with stakeholders. So I think environmental management is a major component of CSR, and HS&E managers are likely to have a much greater understanding of CSR issues.
But isn't environmental management all a big PR exercise to a lot of companies? Do you think they're all actually taking it quite seriously or just out for the media headlines?
Well, I guess if we were invited to think of a company or two that maybe is approaching it like that, we probably could. I think that's probably been true over the last decade. Some people have actually done it very successfully in that context. However, if you look at all the legislation that exists now, the carbon reduction commitment next year, which will force many companies to reduce their energy carbon footprint. They call it the carbon footprint. If you look at resource legislation, plus these stakeholder requirements that we talked about earlier, environmental management's a real issue now. It's a business issue. Anyone who just thinks that they can brand their way through this, I don't think they're going to do very well in the next 10 or 20 years.
Thanks for your time, Paul.
Thank you.